Well, good morning, hello there, and welcome to the weekly pet pairing. Those of you who follow me on Instagram, I'm taking my Glow Lights by Auric, by the way. Those who follow me on Instagram may have noticed that I went a little bit radio silent since, I don't know, the end of last week or the weekend. I don't know when the last time was that I posted any sort of content on my wall, because Nicola brought the gift of another stomach virus, not even a month after he brought the previous one. And apparently I am on a mission as if I were catching Pokemons, gotta catch them all. So I was feeling pretty sick actually the previous 2 days. I didn't even go to work. And I'm going to take now my concealer. I'm going to take the First Aid Beauty Bendy Avocado Concealer. I'm using mine in the shade Fair, which is 02. So all in all, a very unpleasant experience. At least it wasn't COVID, although let me tell you, at this point, I feel like trying to outrun COVID is like trying to outrun a jaguar. Both the car and the animal. Like, it's like you can run and you can hide, but that shit will get you. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like for me it really is like closing in now. I didn't have many people in my direct environment who were either in contact or have themselves gotten sick, but in the last few weeks a bunch of my like direct colleagues had children who brought it home, and then they themselves got sick, and all of us at the lab are vaccinated, were boosted, so nobody got severe disease. The worst they got was like a mild case of the flu, so it's been okay in terms of like symptoms. But at this point I feel like any day now within the next few weeks I'm definitely going to come in contact with it, and I'm very curious how it's going to go, if I will even have symptoms at all. I mean, best case scenario, it will be asymptomatic, although I still have to quarantine, which is extremely inconvenient at the moment. Taking my Dior Backstage foundation now, by the way, also because very inconveniently, I have a student starting this week. So already on Monday and yesterday I had to cancel our appointments with him. He couldn't really come yesterday and the day before because there was really no one to like fall in for me. I'm his direct supervisor, so if I'm not there, he doesn't really have that much to do. Luckily, the beginning of an internship is always the time when you have to do a lot of reading. So I just agreed with him that he can stay home and like read from home, and we can meet up hopefully today. And luckily yesterday evening I felt significantly better, so today I'm going to work. Wouldn't say that I'm like 100% feeling super well, full of energy, you know, but I'm feeling well enough, I think, to go into the office and get him introduced, maybe do a few things at the lab just so he starts to have a little bit of fun with his internship. Oh dang, I forgot to zoom you in. I'm sorry, let me zoom you in. Although I don't really know whether I want to zoom you in at the moment because, like I said, I don't really look my best. But you know what, I also don't look my best because I don't have any of the filters on my camera. I don't have a ton of like artificial lighting around me to soften the look of everything that's going on my face. So unfortunately you always have to deal with my very realistic skin, pores and everything included. I'm taking the Dior powder, no powder, backstage, whatever it's called, I don't know. And I'm just going to lightly dust a layer of that. And I'm not super worried about it because, like I said, I'm boosted, vaccinated, whatever. I don't think that I will have more than a flu. But you know, it still sucks having the flu. And like I said, a very inconvenient time for me to have to quarantine for 5 days or more. For bronzer, I'm going to take my Milk Makeup bronzer in the shade Baked, and since I do have to wash this brush now, I think I'm just going to use that to apply also my bronzer. As a lot of you said in my previous video when I commented that I have finally decided to start using this brush a lot when applying foundation, it is not super, you know, damaging to the brush if I use it with cream and liquid products because it is undyed goat hair, which is something I knew and I had completely forgotten about. But thank you for reminding me. So I will just continue to heavily use this brush now because I actually really like how it applies foundation. For my blush and highlighter today, I'm going to pull out this oldie but goodie duo from MAC. It's in their Extra Dimension formula. It contains both a blush and a highlighter. The highlighter is in the infamous Whisper of Guilt shade. So I'm just going to do that because it is such a gorgeous formula. How about you guys? Have you been able to evade the plague, or were you already down with it? How was it? Also, I don't know if you heard, but several countries in Europe have basically decided that they're done with the COVID pandemic. They're calling it an endemic disease now, and they have scrapped all the rules. And you have no idea how jealous I am. Why do I feel like there's a hair? There's a hair right here. Like Denmark, for instance, since I think the beginning of this week, they have decided that COVID is done. They have no rules at all. I think maybe the UK as well has joined them. And I am so looking forward to us here in the Netherlands doing that, although I don't expect that to be anytime soon. It's probably because I haven't been able to make any use of all the restrictions that we let go of last week that I haven't really felt much of a difference, but they did open the stores and the restaurants again. The restaurants do have to close at 10 in the evening, but you know, 10 in the evening is not too bad, especially if you're an old lady like me who needs to be in bed at 11 anyway. Now we're going to start off on the eye look, where I feel like based on my clothing you may already know in which direction we're going, but I bought this gorgeous dress in this absolutely stunning pukey color, and I cannot wait to pair this dress with Gigabyte from the Subversive palette. Now you will notice that there are wrinkles on the dress. That's because I shamelessly just took it off the hanger after it arrived and I started wearing it because I am this impatient. Patience is not among my virtues, so I was like, you know what? I'm in a hurry, but I really want to wear the dress, so am I really going to wear it without ironing it? Fuck yeah. So I apologize for my very unpolished appearance today. I'm going to start off the look, though, with the shade Statuesque, which is going to go through my crease. I think I might have mentioned it around the Christmas holidays, and someone brought it up again in the comment section of one of my previous videos, but I want to film a video in which I talk about my favorite shade from every palette from Pat McGrath. And then I decided to take that up a notch, and I decided that I'm going to rank my favorite shade in every Pat McGrath palette. And this is where I hit a roadblock. So the other day I made a list of all of my Pat McGrath palettes. It was a very long list, let me tell you. And then I could relatively easily choose which eyeshadow would be my favorite in each palette. The only one I struggled with, and I don't think I'm quite there with my decision yet, is the Subliminal palette. But anyway, I relatively easily could decide for the majority of palettes what my favorite shade is. However, afterwards I thought, okay, let's start the ranking portion, and I rage quit because I couldn't decide what to do past my top 2 favorite shades. I think my top 2 favorite shades are like pretty set in stone, but everything else is a wild card, and I'll have to think really hard how to rank them. Like, ranking my palettes was not as hard as having to rank my favorite shades, okay? The first palette that I'm going to use for today's pairing is going to be the iconic Illumination quad. This is one of her Blitz Astral quads that she released in 2019 for the holidays. Funny story, the other day I was like lurking around the Facebook group for Pat McGrath palettes, and someone was looking for a recommendation whether to buy this quad because it was back in stock on the website or something. And then someone else commented underneath that they shouldn't buy the quad because it is the worst quality eyeshadow palette that they have ever bought from Pat McGrath Labs. And I was like, what are you talking about? What is wrong with you? Like, I took it like a personal offense, because if you've seen my ranking of Pat McGrath eyeshadow palettes, you know that this is in my top 3. So I took it really personally when that person said that this was a bad palette, because I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I think someone else, or maybe the same person, went on to mention that this shade was not a very good one. It's one of her Astrals, and at that point I was like raging, like fumes coming out of my ears, because I think as far as the Astrals go, and as far as those like Astrals she makes that make your lids look wet, this is probably one of her best ones, because it's like Astral Solstice from the Midnight Sun and a Divine Rose palette, but I find Astral Solstice to be so like silver white and like so too cool toned for my taste, whereas this hits the perfect note of being that beautiful, slightly warm toned champagne without leaning too gold. I don't know why I had to go on this tangent, just to tell you that I'm taking the deep brown shade that I'm going to apply lightly as a wing liner in the outer corner of my eye. Also, I completely understand that it's makeup and we shouldn't get that worked up about it, so I was, you know, mostly joking. Or was I? No, when it comes to like actual makeup preferences, I don't tend to get super mad if people don't like the shit that I like. I get far more mad when people talk about, you know, ingredients in skincare products that they don't know anything about. That makes me truly mad. But like, you liking a palette and me disliking it, or me liking a palette and you disliking it, is not something I will get worked up about. It's like, whatever. You have preferences, I have preferences, we can't all like the same things. I don't know that I want to go much deeper with the outer corners. I think this is enough. So now I'm going to take a little bit of my Pixie Epoxy glitter glue and apply that all over my lid, including the outer corner, because I'm also going to put Gigabyte over there, over top of the brown shade. So I'm going to start here in the inner corners, and then I'm just going to bring it right here over top of that deep brown as well. Next I'm going to take the... Don't they just match absolutely perfectly? Oh my gosh, a match made in heaven. Now I'm going to go into clearly the Subversive palette, and I'm going to take the shade Gigabyte, which I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's definitely in my top 3 favorite shades from Pat McGrath. And I'm going to apply that on pretty much the outer half of my lid, and maybe going a little bit into the inner third, to be honest, just like this. This is one of the most remarkable eyeshadows ever. Not just within Pat McGrath's collection, but like in general. And the problem is that when you look at the palette in pictures, or when you see swatches even, you cannot really imagine how beautiful this eyeshadow is. You have to put it on and you have to wear it to really understand how gorgeous it is. Next I'm going to take my C3PO palette from the Star Wars collab. I'm going to flip that same brush and use the clean part to apply this shade, the shade Galactic Gold, which I made absolutely no secret of. I am absolutely in love with this shade, and I think the two will look really beautiful together because Galactic Gold has that light champagne gold shade with a tiny bit of a green shift to it. And I think on Instagram I called it my new golden Polaris. Some of you will know that I have a slight obsession with the shade Golden Polaris from the Interstellar Icon quad. And I couldn't shut up about it for like a full year after that quad was released. And now I've kind of like chilled about it, not because I still don't find it an exceptional eyeshadow, but because, you know, time has passed and I realize people have gotten tired of me rambling about Golden Polaris all the time. But I found my new Golden Polaris in the face of Galactic Gold. So now you're going to not hear me shut up about this shade for the foreseeable 365 days. You're welcome. And now to intensify the sparkle in this look, I'm going to go back into the iconic Illumination quad and take this Astro shade, which I believe is Gold Allure. And I'm going to take a little bit of Gold Allure and I'm going to apply it right here in the center of my lid, a little bit over Galactic Gold and a little bit over Gigabyte from Subversive. Just like this. On my lower lash line I'm going to keep it rather simple. I'm going to go back into Gigabyte from the Subversive palette and apply that all over the lower lash line. So this is the final look. I decided that I need a reliable lipstick that lasts through a lot of talking but remains very comfortable throughout. So the obvious choice was of course Flash 3 from Pat McGrath Labs, which is one of my absolute favorite lipsticks of all time. I hope you enjoyed this look. I think it was relatively simple, nothing new and exciting, but I just wanted to get back on camera and talk to you for a little bit because I've been a little bit the last few days, you know, with being sick and all. And I think doing makeup and talking to you always cheers me up, and it kind of did. But now I really gotta go because my student will be waiting for me in like half an hour. So thanks so much for watching and I will see you in my next video. Bye!